Other folks up from our team to help answer is regards to security and the additional screening that is being proposed over here in the Eastern Gateway. So for that answer, I'm going to turn this over to Dan Hughes, who is our Vice President of Security and Emergency Services for the Disneyland Resort. Dan has a long history in law enforcement, and he's filling in this evening for Eric Velez, who oversees security strategies for all Disney parks around the world. Eric couldn't be with us tonight. He's traveling in Paris right now. Eric and his security team have been an integral part of the Eastern Gateway project. They've collaborated with our overall approach to security and work heavily with the Anaheim Police Department. Eric and Dan are part of a broader security team that includes safety, security, and law enforcement professionals from FBI, Homeland Security, federal, state, and local authorities that focus on matters of safety and security. In fact, Eric joined Disney after a 30-year career in the FBI, where he progressed through roles in organized crime units and intelligence. Most recently, he was the executive director of the FBI's intelligence program. So I'd like to welcome up Dan Hughes right now to address concern number 3.
Thanks, Joe. Members of Planning Commission, thank you for allowing me to speak to you this evening. Again, my name is Dan Hughes. I am the Vice President of Security and Emergency Services for the Disneyland Resort. I have recently joined Disney after serving 30 years for the city of Fulton to your north, and recently as the police chief there for the last 4.5 years. As Joe mentioned in his presentation, we have heard from some of the businesses along Harbor Boulevard that they are concerned with the additional guest screening that are on the east side of Harbor as part of our Eastern Gateway project. Specifically, the question has been, why does your guest screening need to move behind our businesses? As you saw in Joe's overview, we are adding more guest screening portals on our property as part of the arrival experience on the east side of Harbor, where up to 24,000 guests will be arriving on a daily basis. These are guests who typically do not arrive on this side of the resort, and the additional screening is critical to move this high volume of guests in the most efficient way through our guest screening process. The answer to the why here question is very clear when you look at it through the lens of security. Together with the Anaheim Police Department, our first and foremost responsibility is to ensure that we use the most progressive and sophisticated security approaches and strategies to keep safe and secure the 25 million guests who visit the Anaheim Resort area each year. As you're all acutely aware, we live in a much different world today than we did 15, 10, or even 5 years ago. Today we live in a state of heightened security awareness, and we must continuously adapt to ensure that we are employing the most effective practices to keep the resort district safe and secure. Over the last year, our security team evaluated several options for the Eastern Gateway project, and it is our strong opinion that the current configuration will best protect both guests visiting the resort area and within the larger perimeter area. By extending our perimeter on the east side of the resort and adding guest screening on our Disney property at one of our main guest arrival points, we are putting into place some of the most effective approaches we're aware of. I cannot get into too much detail on our security strategies, so I do not compromise them. But what I can tell you is that an extended perimeter around any large venue is critical in today's world. There are 3 really main reasons for this. The first one is that it allows for greater visibility of the guests who are entering the resort and more opportunity for us as security to observe the guests and watch for certain behaviors that our teams are trained to monitor. Secondly, it allows us to significantly expand the number of screening locations, allowing people to move through security checkpoints at a much quicker pace, thereby dispersing crowds much more quickly than we do today. The new plan actually allows for 40 lanes as compared to the current 16 that we're using. And lastly, with our various layers of security, it broadens the area that is protected and expands our security presence on both the west and east sides of the resort, well beyond the location of our 2 parks and into the resort areas that are not presently heavily secured today. This approach is not unique to just the east side of the resort. Work is currently well underway to to implement the same security approach throughout the Disneyland Resort. On the north and west side of the Mickey and Friends parking structure, the Disneyland Hotel, the Grand Californian Hotel, and the Downtown Disney, and as well on the south, the Toy Story parking lot. In fact, most of these changes will go into effect later this week, with this same expanded security perimeter approach now included a much larger area of the resort. While some may view these types of perimeter screening and security changes as inconvenient, they are considered some of the best practices in the world that we live in today and are critical to ensure the safety and of the entire resort district area. In addition, and I promise that's not my phone. In addition, these changes are consistent with our security approach at our parks and resorts and other properties around the world, and are also how large venues such as malls, airports, stadiums, and other tourist destinations are conducting security operations. As I've mentioned, this approach is also supported and endorsed by the Anaheim Police Department, which is focused on deploying the most effective approaches to keep the entire city of Anaheim safe. This plan has been reviewed and analyzed for many months by Disney security team, which, as Joe mentioned, consists of safety, security, and law enforcement professionals who have spent many years of their careers in the FBI, the CIA, Secret Service, Homeland Security, and with local law enforcement experts. All who collectively have over hundreds of years of real-world experience in keeping people safe. Easy, quick, and convenient access for all guests coming to Disneyland Resort, whether they are coming from local hotels, Disney hotels, or driving in for the day, is critical for everyone's success. We understand the concerns about the easy access into the parks and pedestrian flow along Harbor Boulevard, and that is why Disney has proposed the solutions that Joe has outlined earlier. Safety, however, will always be our #1 priority. And make no mistake, what happens on Disney property, or in the Anaheim Resort District, or on Harbor Boulevard for that matter, impacts all of us. As security experts, we agree with the Anaheim Police Department that we simply cannot agree to anything that would compromise our ability now and into the future to fully and quickly respond to the rapidly changing security environment in the world that we live in today. I thank you for your time.